What truly fits in the jar of your life? A story that changed how we see life. It was a bright morning when an old teacher walked into his classroom carrying something unusual. A large empty glass jar. The students, curious as ever, looked at him with puzzled faces. Without saying a word, the teacher placed the jar on the desk, next to a few small bags that seemed to contain different things. He looked up and smiled gently. "Today," he said, "I want to show you something about life." He opened the first bag and took out a few large stones, each roughly the size of his fist. Carefully, he placed them one by one into the jar. When no more stones could fit, he turned to the class and asked, "Is the jar full now?" "Yes," the students answered almost in unison. The teacher smiled but didn't respond. Instead, he opened the second bag, this one filled with small pebbles. He poured them into the jar and gently shook it. The pebbles rolled down into the spaces between the big stones. Again, he looked at the students and asked, "Is it full now?" Some nodded, but others began to sense there was more to the lesson. One boy raised his hand and said, "Maybe not yet, sir." The teacher nodded approvingly. He opened the third bag and poured fine sand into the jar. The sand slipped into every small gap left by the stones and pebbles, filling it to the brim. Once again, he asked, "Now, is it full?" This time the students laughed. "Probably not, sir." The teacher chuckled softly. He took out one final item, a small cup of water, and slowly poured it into the jar. The water seeped through the sand, filling every remaining space until the jar overflowed slightly. Then, and only then, did the teacher step back and say, "Now, my students, this jar represents your life." He paused, letting the idea sink in. "The big stones," he said, pointing to them inside the jar, "are the most important things. Your family, your health, your dreams, and your loved ones. If you lose everything else but still have these, your life will remain full and meaningful." He moved his hand over the smaller pebbles. "These represent the other important things. Your job, your house, your education, your responsibilities. They matter too, but not as much as the stones." Then he brushed his fingers over the sand. "And this, the sand, stands for all the small stuff, the little worries, the endless tasks, the unimportant details that fill our days." The class was quiet. The teacher's voice softened. "If you fill your jar, your life, with sand first, there will be no room for the stones. If you spend all your time and energy on small, meaningless things, you'll never have space for what truly matters." He looked at the students one by one. "Take care of the big stones first. Spend time with your family. Protect your health. Follow your dreams. Do what brings you joy and meaning. The rest, the pebbles in the sand, will find their place naturally." He stopped for a moment, allowing silence to speak for him. Then one curious student raised his hand and asked, "Sir, what about the water? What does it represent?" The teacher smiled warmly, as if he had been waiting for that question all along. "The water," he said, "represents the little moments that make life beautiful. A quiet walk at sunset, laughter with friends, or a simple cup of coffee shared with someone you care about. Even when life feels full, even when your jar seems packed with stones, pebbles, and sand, there's always room for water. There's always space for kindness, for laughter, for the simple joys that keep your spirit alive." He lifted the jar gently so everyone could see it clearly, full of stones, pebbles, sand, and water, all fitting together perfectly. "That," he said, "is what a balanced life looks like. Not one that is crowded or rushed, but one that gives space to what matters most." The students sat silently, watching the jar glisten in the sunlight that streamed through the window. They understood now that it wasn't just a lesson about objects. It was a lesson about priorities, about how to live. The teacher continued softly, "Remember, life is like this jar. It has limits. If you waste your space on things that don't matter, arguments, pride, possessions, you'll have no room left for love, growth, or peace. But if you start with the big stones, everything else will find its place." He placed the jar on the desk and smiled. "I've lived long enough to see people fill their lives with sand, endless busyness, chasing wealth or recognition, and still feel empty inside. But I've also seen those who live simply, who value family, health, and kindness above all. Their jars may not look as full from the outside, but inside, they are overflowing with meaning. The room was silent again. For a moment, no one spoke, not because they didn't understand, but because they understood too well. Finally, the teacher said in a calm, steady voice, "So, my dear students, fill your jar wisely. Put the big stones in first, your family, your health, your dreams. Then let the smaller things fall into place. Don't waste your life chasing grains of sand." He smiled once more and concluded, "A full life is not measured by how much you can fit in, but by how much meaning you allow to stay." Don't fill your life with sand. Start with the stones that truly matter, and let everything else flow around them. Happiness is not about how much we fit into our lives, but about choosing what truly deserves a place within it.